All right, welcome to our bi-weekly webinar series for order time. My name is Ian Benolio, and today we're going to talk about barcodes and what is really a barcode. Try to demystify what a barcode is all about. So a barcode is simply kind of a series of lines in a kind of a straight line barcode, and really it's a font. Okay, it's not a number, it's really a font and a format that represents data, and you can decide which data goes into the barcode. So again, the barcode is just a font, and there are different types of fonts that you can choose as well. For example, here, if I'm just kind of referring to my my label designer here, this type of barcode is a UPC barcode, and we also have an N126, an N39. These are standards that are provided by a standard making body that basically decides the font or the format of the barcode. And the reason we have barcodes is to allow a scanner to read the barcode, right, and determine, yeah, this data in the barcode is this number. Okay, and then whatever application is using the scanner would take that input from the scanner and says, okay, this is a UPC, do something with it. Okay. So all this data, whether it's the manufacturer's part number, the UPC, the lot number, and we'll go over what a GS1 is in a second, but these barcodes are one-dimensional barcodes. In other words, they hold a single piece of data. Right? The data that's driving this barcode, as you can see here, clearly the item is simply the item name. Okay, so if I look at the editor of the barcode itself, this is the name that I'm barcoding. Okay. In addition to that, I've added the manufacturer's part number. I've added the manufacturer's part number, and I've added the UPC here, and simply I'm creating a barcode, and I can create as many barcodes as I want from different pieces of data. And they're rendering in different ways depending on the data that's in there, and also the format, or they call it the type of barcode. Another word for it is symbology. Symbology is also the symbols that are used. Symbology is the type of barcode that's used, and in terms of when you create your barcodes here, this is actually the barcoder that I have open. I decide which barcode type or symbology type. Now, this other barcode that I have called GS1 is a special type of barcode that is a standard also. A GS1 is a global standard. I'm not quite sure exactly what it stands for, but basically it provides for the ability to have multiple pieces of data in the same barcode separated by these delimiters called brackets. You see these brackets here, 0, or bracket, 0, end bracket, and then a number, and then another delimiter. And each of delimiter, according to the standard, would hold certain pieces of information. So I'm not quite sure exactly. You can go to the GS1 standard website and find out what these delimiters represent. But in terms of the delimiter, I put in app, so when a scanner reads that, an application will what's called parse these delimiters. We'll basically say, okay, starting from here, we know it's the UPC. Starting with 13 and bracket, we know it's the lot number. I actually created a very similar type of, so this is actually the way I put together that that composite, right? And basically what I did here is I added a value and I just put in my delimiter here. So let's say another delimiter might be 14, I'm just guessing. And then another piece of data that I might want to add would be the, let's say the hand quantity. Right. So I can save that. And when we print this, we should see that other piece of data as well. Okay. So there we added the quantity. Okay. So that's basically kind of creating the barcodes. So it's it's just to for people that came a little bit late, a barcode is a font. The font holds data depending on the type of font. So we can have different types of fonts, including, or different types of barcodes, including regular barcode, EIN. This is Europeans, UPC for United States. I haven't used these barcodes, but I guess if you're in the pharma business, you would use that as a standard. But generally, you would use code 128 or code 39. Now, you want to keep your barcodes, the information that's going into barcodes, as simple as possible. In terms of how you put together, let's say an item name, you can see here that I have this capitalized. And the reason I have this capitalized is that in certain barcodes, specifically ANSI 39, doesn't read lowercase letters, okay? Also, the shorter the better. If you want to take a look at our, we have a KB article on creating part numbers for your products, and you want to keep them short, concise, alphanumeric, and the alpha portion should be capitalized. You can use a dash, a dot, a space, but you should avoid things like ampersands, quotation marks, colons. Those types of things are not represented that well in a barcode. All right, so once we have the barcode in here, you can actually use these barcodes, put them on your product, and use them in a number of different areas of the system. One of the areas that you can use it in, just about almost anything here. So let's say I'm going to do a sales order. And so I'll just create a sales order here real quick. Now, you can attach a wireless or a wired scanner to either your phone or your laptop or your iPad. And I can click this little box here, the scan, and I'm going to emulate a scanner by just typing in the name and tap. Okay, that's actually the same thing as doing a barcode scan. So if I barcode scan right in there, it'll read the barcode. It'll quickly say, oh, that's the word pecan. And as you can see, it's incrementing our order. I could have just as easily gone to and just open up this again. I could have just as easily scanned a UPC. All right, so if I change this to UPC, I can then scan the UPC, and it'll say, oh, it's the same number. I know it's the same number because it's associated with this item. The same thing with the manufacturer's part number. All right, so I can just scan that as well. You can see that's incrementing one by one. Okay. Now let's talk about one other in terms of barcodes that often people run into, and that is, let's say you have this barcode is a piece, okay, but you might receive for the same item, it might have an outer box which has a completely different barcode. The only difference is that there are, let's say, 100 pieces in it. Okay, so we have this tool called the barcoding, which is exactly for that purpose. Exactly for that purpose, and we could set that up. You would set that up by enabling that in your page layouts. So I'm going to go to my page layouts here. So I went to admin and page layouts. I'm going to look for entities and details. So that's what I want. And I'm going to go to items, and I'm going to make this one visible. All right, by default it's invisible, but I'm going to make it visible because I want it. All right. So back here, now let's say I have a completely different barcode. I'm going to add a barcode. Let's start with this. Okay. And I'm going to pick a case for my and in each case I have 100 units. Okay. So that's my barcode. Now if I take this and I go back to my sales order, you can see here, put that back to 5. All right, so if I scan this, I should see, well, the cases come in like so. Let me pick a different one. Well, anyways, so basically it multiplies the quantity by whatever is in the barcode. So in this case, it's multiplying it, but then it's also doing a unit of measure conversion. So that's what that is all about. Okay, so that's a very handy feature if you have like inner, and you can add as many of these as you want for inner, outer, even a separate outer box or a pallet as well. And so if you receive a pallet and you know that the pallet has a whole bunch of items on it, you can just create the barcode for that and barcode that as well. Now, if you want to use barcoding when you're shipping, one of the things that you could definitely use is our mobile, and they accept our barcodes plus any barcode that may or may not be already on the product. So if it's already on the product, you can just simply map it right in here. Okay, and by the way, you can also, if you on the purchasing side, there's also one more barcode, which is the vendor part number. Okay, so that's definitely another barcode that you can use. Now this barcode can be done on the purchase order as well. So this will only read on not on the sales side, but only on only on the purchasing side. So to demonstrate, I'll create a purchase order for that vendor, and we'll scan in the vendor part number this time, and there again is our RP count. Okay, so that's very handy to do it that way as well. Okay, now in terms of if you're going to use the scanner, we have two options for scanning in a mobile, or a few options for scanning mobile. We have the order time mobile, which is kind of the beginning of our new tool that is on an iOS for now. We're also quickly developing the Android version of it, and you can, at this point, you can ship an order. We're working on receiving orders as well. That's going to come in a week or so for the Apple. So you can receive an order with the barcoding, or you can go with our older version of basically the same thing, but it just uses a kind of an older scanning type, which is a Windows mobile. And with that, you can also ship an order. We have some videos on both of those things, so you would scan that in there, and even if it has a lot number, you can scan it in there as well. But let's say you want to use the actual browser window itself. You want to use the browser, and not necessarily care about using a mobile device or something like that. And when I generate a shipping document from the sales order, I want to be able to scan in either the part number or the serial number. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. So I'm going to be using a specific item that's a little bit complicated. The item that I have here called the hard drive, and it has a number of serial numbers in the system. Okay, so it has a number of serial numbers. So let's go ahead, and the first thing I want, I don't want the system to automatically pick it on a first in, first out basis like we usually do. I want to have the user scan the barcode on the ship doc. So the first thing I need to do is I need to go into company preferences, and I go into shipping, and I'm going to uncheck the first preference. This preference is basically what by default it's true, it's checked, and when we create the ship doc, just put in the quantity for me automatically, including if it's a lot numbered item, it's first in, first out. So we always do first in, first out. But let's uncheck that now. So I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that. Next, I'm going to create a sales order, and I'm going to add 2 of those items. I'm going to add 2 of those items. So let's create the sales order, pick the customer, location is there, customer PO, etc. General sales order stuff. We all know how to do that. And we're going to add the hard drive. And we're going to add two of those. I'm going to approve the order, and I'm going to create a ship doc. Now that ship doc will come in as 0. Okay, you can see here, and of course I can come in here and scan them. boom, boom, boom. Or I can scan them. If I click on here, I can scan them from here as well. So let's do that. Let's make sure that I have the lot numbers, serial numbers that I need. I'll take that one. Okay. Oh, I took the wrong one. There's not enough inventory of that one. Okay, so that's number one. And we'll take this one, number two. All right, so now basically now I've now scanned in the two lot numbers, and I didn't have to open up this section over here or this section over here at all. I now scanned in those lot numbers. As you can see, I tried to scan in one, it didn't have inventory. It told me right away I didn't have inventory of that serial number. Okay. All right, so we're going to open it up to a few questions now. Guys have any questions? It's pretty straightforward in terms of what a barcode is all about. So if there's no questions, Michael?
Yeah, if just to give everyone time if they want to ask some questions in the chat. To chat, by the way, just click up in the top right on the chat button and just enter in your query. And right after this, I'm going to be sending out links also on types of barcodes, info on GS1 barcodes, and some helpful links in our knowledge base that'll help you out for scanning. Looks like the first question is, can we use barcode features for the work orders?
Yeah. I mean, a work order also has the same type of this one's closed. The bar has the same type of feature as this. So you see how it's incrementing here. Now, of course, so that's that. Now we also have the ability on a barcode on the work order to do a GS1, to scan in a GS1, which would again have composite. You can send me an email on that. There's a couple of settings that we have to kind of do on the back end. It's pretty easy. We just need to know. Remember, we just need to know your delimiters and what data you have in between the delimiters. So we've done that with with one of our customers, that they told us, hey, in each one of these delimiters, it's custom field this or that or whatever, so we can do that. You can also scan the lot number as well into a work order.
And for most of that scanning, you can use a regular USB scanner hooked up to the computer that they're doing it at, and
or the iPhone.
You can scan, or the iPhone app, and you can just scan in line items, and it'll add quantity.
It can also be Bluetooth, and it may not all. It doesn't have to be USB. It can be Bluetooth.
Oh yeah. I'll send out the link to our hardware provider as well, because we've got some good scanners on there. And does anyone else have any further questions?
Great. I hope you found this informative. Michael is going to produce this video shortly and make it available to you in an email, as well as send out some notes on that. We've previously done a number of webinars on generating using our label designer as well. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'll
you
make sure to link
take
to
a look
those.
at that. And
Mhm.
also just remember that if your products already have barcodes on them, all you have to do is map them.
Last minute question. Can we scan different barcodes for a single receipt document?
Can we scan different? Can we scan different barcodes for a single receipt? I don't quite understand that question.
Oh, so that he can record the UPC and lot
Yeah,
number.
yeah, on a work order, yeah. If you contact, Suma, if you contact us, that assumes that your product has a GS1 label. So if it's a produce product, then yes, that would be possible to have. And it doesn't even have to be the UPC. It can be the item number, the lot number, and the quantity as well, specifically. So there's a lot of things that we can do with just GS1 type of label to scan into a work order. Let us know. Send us an email, and we'll reach out to you so you can scan those into the work order.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll include the support email on the email that I send out so that you can just send that in as a ticket and we'll set it up on the back end.
Yeah, I think we do it on the receiver. Though. I have to check. I think there's no reason why we shouldn't, but I think we do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks. Everybody stay safe. Have a great day. And thank you for attending today's webinar.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.